Are President Trump and his daughter Tiffany trying to repair what's being described as a damaged relationship?
Tiffany's husband, Michael, who's a very exceptional young guy, and she's an exceptional young woman, and she's going to have a baby, so that's nice.
Tiffany Trump has always been the quiet one in a family known for grabbing headlines. While the world followed every move of her father's presidency and her siblings built their own public personas, Tiffany stayed in the background, rarely making waves. But at 31, she's finally stepping into the light, offering the world a rare glimpse into her life and revealing the secrets she's kept all these years. From her whirlwind romance with billionaire Michael Boulos to the challenges of merging two powerful families, Tiffany's life is anything but ordinary. And now, for the first time, she's choosing to speak up. But why now? What's changed? And what is it that Tiffany has kept hidden all this time? Stay with us, because Tiffany's truth is one you won't want to miss. When you hear the name Trump, certain images immediately come to mind: towering skyscrapers, flashing cameras, lavish lifestyles, and personalities that dominate the media. But in the midst of all that, there's one Trump who has remained somewhat of a mystery. Tiffany Trump, often referred to as the forgotten Trump, has never been the loudest voice in the room. But has she truly been forgotten? Or has she been deliberately carving out her own path, away from the chaos? To understand Tiffany today, we have to go back to the beginning. Born in 1993 to Donald Trump and his second wife, Marla Maples, Tiffany's upbringing was vastly different from that of her older siblings, Donald Jr., Ivanka, and Eric. While they grew up in the heart of New York City, living in the prestigious Trump Tower and being groomed for the family, business Tiffany's world was far removed from that. After her parents' divorce in 1999, she moved to Los Angeles with her mother, where life was much more low-key. While her last name was famous, Tiffany's childhood was filled with everyday moments: school plays, beach trips, and a relatively normal life compared to the high-pressure upbringing of her older siblings. Marla Maples made a conscious effort to shield her daughter from the Trump family's high-stakes world. Unlike her siblings, who were exposed to media scrutiny from a young age, Tiffany was allowed to grow up away from the spotlight. She wasn't attending business meetings or making public appearances on behalf of the Trump organization. Instead, she was just a regular kid, at least as regular as one could be while carrying the Trump name. Marla, who had already lived through the intense public attention surrounding her marriage and divorce from Donald Trump, wanted to protect Tiffany from that same level of exposure. And for the most part, it worked. But even as she stayed out of the limelight, Tiffany's distance from the rest of the Trump family didn't go unnoticed. Over time, speculation grew about her role in the family, or lack thereof. She wasn't actively involved in her father's business ventures, nor did she take on a political role like Ivanka and Donald Jr. The media took note of her absence, and soon she was labeled the forgotten Trump. But was she really forgotten? Or was she intentionally keeping her distance? While the rest of the world speculated, Tiffany quietly pursued her education, staying as far away from drama as possible. She attended law school at Georgetown University, avoiding the headlines that often followed her siblings. Unlike Donald Jr., who was making waves in the business world, or Ivanka, who had a prominent role in the Trump administration, Tiffany seemed content focusing on her studies. There were no scandals, no bold political statements, just a woman living her life on her own terms. So why, after all these years of staying in the background, is she suddenly stepping forward? What has changed that has made Tiffany Trump decide to break her silence? Sometimes love finds you when you least expect it. And for Tiffany, that moment came in the summer of 2018. The setting? Mykonos, Greece, specifically Lindsay Lohan's exclusive beach club, where the rich and famous go to let loose. The music was loud, the drinks were flowing, and amidst all the chaos, Tiffany locked eyes with someone who would change her life forever, Michael Boulos. But Michael wasn't just another wealthy vacationer enjoying a summer night in Greece. Born in Lebanon and raised in Nigeria, he came from the powerful Boulos family, a business empire spanning Africa and the Middle East. Their fortune came from ventures in manufacturing, trade, and distribution, making them one of the wealthiest families in the region. But Michael wasn't just an heir. He was actively involved in the family business from a young age, making his mark in the corporate world before he even hit his mid-20s. Tiffany, on the other hand, came from a world where fame often overshadowed fortune. As the daughter of a US president, her family name carried political weight. At the time, she was balancing law school with life as a socialite, floating through America's elite circles. Their meeting in Mykonos was nothing short of a movie scene, two people from completely different worlds colliding in an unexpected place. But while their chemistry was undeniable, their relationship was bound to face challenges. This wasn't just a love story between two individuals. It was a collision of two vastly different families, cultures, and expectations. Tiffany, forever attached to the Trump legacy, was under constant public scrutiny. Meanwhile, Michael came from a family that valued privacy and tradition, far removed from the media frenzy that followed the Trumps. Could their love survive the pressure? Would Tiffany's life in the public eye clash with Michael's more private upbringing? In 2022, Tiffany and Michael sealed their love with a grand wedding at Mar-a-Lago, her father's famous Florida estate. The event was as extravagant as expected: lavish decorations, designer gowns, and a high-profile guest list. But just as everything seemed to be falling into place, nature threw an unexpected obstacle in their path. Hurricane Nicole, a massive storm, was barreling toward Florida, threatening to derail Tiffany Trump and Michael Boulos's long-anticipated wedding. With only days to go before the lavish ceremony, uncertainty loomed over every detail. Wedding planners scrambled to adjust the schedule, unsure if the event would even happen. The picturesque venue, set to host some of the most high-profile guests, now faced the possibility of devastation. The couple, along with their families, anxiously monitored weather reports, wondering if they would be celebrating under a sunlit sky or forced to postpone due to nature's wrath. For guests, the storm added an extra layer of suspense. Some hesitated to travel, unsure if flights would be grounded or if the wedding would be called off at the last minute. The pressure was immense, and every hour leading up to the big day felt like a waiting game. Yet, against all odds, the storm passed just in time. The clouds cleared, and Tiffany and Michael's wedding unfolded exactly as planned. Stunning images emerged of the couple exchanging vows, with Tiffany glowing in her custom Ely Saab gown, surrounded by loved ones in a breathtaking outdoor setting. The world saw a dream wedding, a moment of perfection. But behind the glamour, whispers suggested that the storm wasn't just a passing weather event. It was a metaphor for something deeper. Some saw it as a symbolic warning of the challenges that lay ahead for Tiffany and Michael as they worked to merge two vastly different worlds. Tiffany, the daughter of former President Donald Trump, had spent her life straddling the line between public attention and personal privacy. Michael, the heir to a billion-dollar Nigerian business empire, came from a background that valued tradition, discretion, and family expectations. Their marriage, while seemingly picture-perfect, carried the weight of these contrasting influences. Tiffany's journey has always been more complex than it appears. Unlike her siblings, who fully embraced public roles within the Trump brand, she has remained relatively private. But with Michael by her side, she finds herself once again in the spotlight. How does she balance the immense expectations tied to her last name while trying to carve out a life of her own? Can she truly find harmony between the worlds she was born into and the one she has now chosen? As she steps into this new chapter, only time will tell if love can bridge the gap between legacy and individuality. Growing up as a Trump has never been easy, and Tiffany knows that better than anyone. With a father who has been one of the most polarizing figures in modern politics, her every move is analyzed, and every decision is scrutinized. But now, as she embarks on this new chapter of her life, the question remains: will Tiffany continue to stay in the shadows, or is she finally ready to step into the spotlight?